Welcome to the third and final part of this video. We'll spend quite a bit of time on this one. We'll really kind of goes into the ins and outs of it as well and show you like multiple ways to do it. So kind of sit back, relax, let's talk. So we have 4 cans of dog food, which will feed 3 dogs for 1 day. How many days will 40 cans feed? Sorry, let me say that again. For how many days will 40 cans feed 2 dogs? For how many days will 40 cans feed 2 dogs? All right. What we're going to begin by doing is just writing down what we know. We know that 4 cans feeds 3 dogs for 1 day. That is what we know. 4 cans feed 3 dogs for 1 day. What we now need to do is change this 4 into 40 and change this 3 dogs into 2 dogs. Now, there is more than one way to do this, but let's just begin by making this 4 into 40. That's pretty easy. We can just times it by 10. And if we were to times it by 10, that means I now have 40 cans. Now, again, if you're going to change this one, you're either going to change this one or this one, and it's kind of your choice as to which one you choose to do. I think I'll change this one. So if I have more dog food, obviously I can have more dogs. So I'm going to times this one by 10, and 3 times 10 is 30. So this one's now going to be 30 dogs, and this is still saying as 1 day. The next thing I need to do is, so I'm done this. See how this is 40? Now I need to change this to 2 dogs. It's currently 30 dogs. Well, the way I can do that is I can divide by 15. It's pretty easy. If I divide by 15, that means I have 2 dogs. So tick, I now have 2 dogs. I have 40 cans, so that doesn't change. I don't want to change that one because I want to keep it as 40 cans. But, so if I'm not going to change this one, it means I have to change this one. And this is where we have to do some thinking. If I have less dogs, but the same amount of dog food, I can obviously feed them for a longer period of time. So I'm not going to divide this one by 15. I'm going to do the inverse thing. I'm going to times it by 15. Because if I have the same amount of dog food, but less dogs, I can feed them for more days. So this is where that thinking really comes into play. So this one is going to be 15 days. And that's my answer, 15 days. Now, in these videos, I've been talking a lot about how you can do this type of questions different ways. So let me show you a different way you could have done it. So let me take the first line here, and let's just talk about a different way you could have approached it. So let me just put this up. So if you're satisfied, you can click off this video now and be like, I don't need to hear this, Mr. Hess. I know what I'm doing. Go away. Or if you want to, you can listen. So what if we, one of them fell off. This should be 1 day. What if we started a different way? What if we, well, let's start the same way. Let's still times this by 10 to make it 40. So if I was to do that, I'll get 40 cans. But let's say instead of timesing this one by 10, we change the amount of days. So over here, we change the amount of dogs. But what if we, spice things up? What if we change the amount of days now? So if I have more dog food, I can feed them for more days. So if this is times by 10, this is times by 10. So it means I'm going to have 10 days here. And this is still going to be 3 days, 3 dogs rather. And now I would have to change this 3 dogs into, well, I need to change it into 2 dogs, right? I'm going 3 to 2, it's kind of tricky. So what I'm going to do is when I have something like that that's a bit tricky, let's just change it into 1 dog. So I'm going to keep this 40 cans the same because I need that. This is now 1 dog. So that means I have to change this one. Now, this is where we have to think. If I have less dogs, I can feed them for more days with the same amount of food. So times this by 3. So inverse operation. So this is now 30 days. But remember, we want this to be 2 dogs, not just 1 dog. So that means I'm now going to have to times this one by 2. So let's now write it out. I'm now going to have 2 dogs. This is going to stay as 40 cans. And remember, if the amount of dogs is increasing, I can feed them for less amount of days on the same amount of food. So this has to decrease. Inverse operations. If this is timesing, this has to divide. So I would divide this one by 2. Go away. 2. And what's 30 divided by 2? You guessed it, 15 days. And that's what we saw before. So as you can see, there is no right way to do this. You can approach this question in different ways and get to the same result. And this is kind of just showing you those different ways. So hopefully you found this helpful. These questions are a bit tricky, so make sure that you watch these videos, ask me questions, and I'll see you in another video.